And I'm coming back out to the shop. Here we are inside the shop. Whoa. Hey guys. It's Ray and we are streaming blacksmithing. Welcome in, welcome in. So today I have a few things that are new things about the channel. I gave us a couple more emotes. There is a hammer, there is an anvil, and there is a forge emote. The anvil and the forge emotes are both still under review, so they should, in theory, come a little bit later once they get approved. The anvil one is an animated one. It's like a little GIF or GIF or whatever, however you want to pronounce that, of the forge or like when it's lit. So it's a little bit small. I don't know that you can really see it very well, but we'll see how it works when you guys start using it out. I also have a hammer emote, and that is also the like channel points icon, I guess. So you guys asked me to name my channel points, so I named them hammer blows, because I mean, what else do you have over 1,000 of when you're a blacksmith? And it's like hammer blows. I definitely use well over 1,000 hammer blows in a project. Okay. So everything seems to be doing all right. I think I am alive and everything's good. Yes, yes it is. Sweet. Alrighty. So today we are going to be continuing with our spoon project. I've done a little bit of shaping on the grinder to kind of take off a little bit of that dip that was forming on from our last stream. So now we have a semi-proper shape for this guy. And then I cut off a little bit at the end, so that way we can kind of draw out the handle just a little bit further. It's a little bit short right now, but I think that's going to be really nice because I want to make this handle a lot skinnier than it currently is, and we'll get a little bit more growth. I'd like to, increase the growth or like the length of the handle by about 1.5 inches. So we'll be able to do that. It looks like I did not actually get rid of any of the flashing on this or when I did this grinding or cutting. So give me half a second. I'm a little bit scatterbrained today. I've been really, really productive, and that's probably why my brain is a little bit scattered. We have an ad-ins coming, so it should be all right. I can do this while the ad is going, and then I will be back. Awesome. Okie doke. Let's grind off a little bit of that flashing, and then we will start the forge again. All right, that is gone. I thought I did this before. All right, we are good to go now. Okay. So we now have a spoon, and we are ready to go. Good to go. All right, so I am going to start up that forge. And then we can kind of review a little bit some of the things that I have said in the beginning. Oh, come on. There we go. Start this forge. Alrighty, so I have uploaded a new video onto the YouTube channel. And it is the video for the scrolling tongs. I posted it on our Discord, or I'll link to it on the Discord. So it's a little bit on the choppy side, but it's the first video I've done where I had two cameras going. So I'm able to like switch angles sometimes. So if you paid close attention, there are, and I don't expect any of you to have, because you aren't me spending like 12 hours editing this thing. But I've actually switched the camera on some of the sections where I had the anvil cam originally like in the stream VOD, and then I have switched to the wide camera for the edited video to kind of cover up a few of the cuts, the weird cuts, because I've gotten rid of a lot of the ums and ahs. There are still some there, but not nearly as many as you start with, I guess, in the VOD. So like I said, I started with what is actually being recorded in the cameras themselves. So I didn't actually do this edit using the VOD itself. So it's the clean footage. It's a little bit higher quality in that, or for that reason. So I think that's probably what we're gonna do going forward. I will still be using the raw VOD, or uploading the raw VOD. But my overview videos will be the footage that I get out of the camera. Let's see. So, I started the forge and then forgot to put the metal in. Goodness gracious. Let's do that real fast. Happy Valentine's Day, mahalo. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and welcome in. I have added a couple new emojis to the channel. You guys asked me to rename the channel points, and I actually did that. So they are now I think they're hammer strikes, because it is the only thing that I could really think of that like you have thousands of in a blacksmith shop. I'm definitely not one to like make thousands upon thousands of nails. So, I mean, that would be the other thing that I could think of. So I did add the emoji of the hammer that I made as an emoji that you guys can use. I added two other emojis, but they're both under review from Twitch. So one is an anvil that I made, and that's a nice emoji. And then I also made an animated GIF or GIF, whichever you want to call it, of the lit forge. And that one is like, it's a little video of the forge that I have. And so I made like a little second video, and I found some website that would like make it tiny and turn it into a GIF. And so that's available, or I guess it will be available once it passes its review. I don't see why it wouldn't pass its review though, so look for those in the coming days and weeks that you guys will be able to use. So yeah. And what else? I also added those emojis to the Discord. The animated forge one, I can't use that one because I am not a Discord Nitro member. But if you guys are Discord Nitro members, you are welcome to use that emoji. Hopefully that it's a decent looking one. If not, I can kind of maybe take some advice on like what angles and stuff that might be more interesting to look at. And I'll make some more as we go. Let's see, what else? I mean, the major thing, I guess, is the video on YouTube. I actually, I had my partner come and do like special beauty shots and stuff of it, and I tacked those on to the end, and I actually like had a photo taken for like the thumbnail, and I feel fancy. So we'll see how, or if that increases my viewership or not. I mean, it's kind of an experiment. I think it looks a little bit more professional, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm still kind of a novice at editing. Let's see. Do we have enough heat yet? No, we do not. Oh, a piece of random paper. I don't want that floating around the shop, so I'm gonna throw that away real fast. So I fixed the sound, or like I reverted the sound back to the way it was. Yeah, so it's still gonna be on the left-hand speaker or the left-hand side of your headset if you're using a headset. And I can try and see, because like I went to the manufacturer of the microphone that I use, and I kind of saw that you can kind of change the channels or like how it's outputting. So right now it's outputting to stereo, but that's what it was outputting before. So I can kind of change it to mono. Let's see if I change it to mono. Oh, I guess that's MS. So that's like, you should have like a really large amount of sound coming from the left side and a tiny little bit of sound coming from the right side. So if you like that, let me know. I'm gonna go to the mono setting, which this is the mono setting, and I don't think it's probably gonna be much different. This is mono, and if you like the mono setting, just let me know. The previous setting was MS, I guess. So if you like that one better, let me know. And we're gonna go back to stereo just so that we have kind of a control. So if you guys got an idea, let me know. Oh, yeah, I have Nightbot now. I forgot about that. It's got my socials in there. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, yep. And then there is a command now that if you hit ! Discord, it'll pop up the Discord channel. The bots are here now. Yes, they are. So theoretically, they'll only do it every 10 minutes. And if there aren't 2 comments, it won't go until the second comment comes, I guess. So yeah, that popped up and I forgot that I put that there. I actually put 2 different bots in here. I put Nightbot, and then I also put the like Frosty bot. But that one is kind of for in case people raid, it'll automatically shout out. I think that's the only setting I have on it for the moment. We're gonna test those and see if we like them. All right. I'm going to hit record on my video because I totally forgot to do that real fast. But I don't really need one intro, so I think I'll be all right. Okay, so now we are recording, and can you try one of those mono sound settings again? Yes, I can. Let's see. This is MS, so you should be able to kind of hear me mostly through the left channel, and then 6 decibels lower, you should be hearing me on the right side. And that's kind of what that is. So theoretically, it's kind of like because there are 2 of these guys, and I think it's preferable to have something in the right channel. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the other mono and we'll see which one we like better. If we like this mono or if we like the other mono. Alrighty, this is the regular mono, and I'm not entirely sure if OBS is splitting the 2 so that it's on both channels, or if it would be better the other method. So let me know which one you like better. Because I think that if I do the main in the left and a little bit in the right, I can probably boost the right when I'm doing a little bit more of like the editing and stuff. I hear the right channel with either of those, Is it louder right now? Maybe? You'll have to let me know if it's all right this way or if it's better the other way. I'll probably do this stream in this method, and if you decide you like the other one, just let me know. There we go. Okay. On the wrong camera. But yeah, so I'm trying to make it a little bit easier to watch and a little bit better every time I do a stream. So yeah, something that I can be proud of. So when I uploaded the video that I uploaded today onto YouTube, I found that last VOD that I posted had a comment and it was just no. And I'm like, no what? So I thought that was kind of a funny comment because it's like whether or not, or I don't know if it's positive or negative or what, it just says no. And I'm like, all right. I don't know how to respond to something like that. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on and see what happens. I mean, at least the person cared enough to engage with my video. So yeah, you never know. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't. But no is not a informative and well thought out comment. All right. draw out that length again and kind of make this handle a little bit skinnier. I think that it's a decent size handle. Maybe, like I think it would be relatively comfortable for like to grab a hold of, but it's a little bit on the wide side. Most people, when they're using a spoon, it's kind of a skinnier spoon. So we're going to kind of reduce some of this meat so it's a little bit easier to use. It's a little fat for like an actual eating utensil, I think. I don't know what happened, but my dog last night, or maybe it was my dog, I don't know, but last night my partner and I just started uncontrollably sneezing. And it's really weird because it's been under freezing all week, and so it's like we're normally, it's like dust and pollen that that makes us sneeze and gives us hay fever, but like to last night and today, I just feel like my nose is constantly like I'm gonna sneeze. It's just like that right before. Wow. That bot is gonna throw me off because it's gonna keep posting stuff and I'm gonna think it's like one of you guys. And I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna be like, that's my bot, not a comment. So I hope it's all right. It's set to 10-minute intervals, and I can change that to a longer duration if you guys think. It will also not post its like stuff if there are less than 2 lines between them. So hopefully that's kind of, it's going to be all right. You might be able to ignore bot messages in OBS. Maybe. That's another thing that I haven't actually taken a look at. I've been really looking into the sound settings a lot. And then I also was looking into a couple more of the what all I can actually post on the OBS. So right now I have my capture card with my 2 cameras and stuff. But I can actually set little videos and pictures and stuff in there. And so I've been looking at doing stuff like that because I want to have a pre-roll video so that you guys don't have to look at me hunched over the computer every time you come in. At the beginning of the stream, I've got some video for that, but yeah, so that's another thing that I need to take a look at to see if maybe I can't ignore the bot messages. Yeah, and I am using OBS. It was a lot easier than Streamlabs to get the 2 cameras going. So yeah, I think we're gonna stick with OBS. I feel like I have a lot more customization that I can do with it. And yeah, I like it a lot. Alrighty. I'm gonna do another heat. If I could pick this up, it would be nice. All right, here we go. Jack Frost, welcome in. We are continuing that spoon today. I've done a little bit of grinding work with it. I chopped off a little bit off the end. That way we can kind of draw out the handle a little bit further. It was exactly the right length that I was really wanting to do, but it was really thick. So I cut off the end so that I could draw it out further and make that handle a lot skinnier. And I also kind of shaped that bowl a little bit further. So hopefully, you know, like there was a little bit of like a U shape at the top. So hopefully I'll be able to correct that and we can move on and do a little bit better today. Spoon bowls are deceptively frustrating. They definitely are. Oh, I put away one of my hammers and I didn't grab the other because I don't know why. Yeah, of all of the different silverware, the spoon is like the worst. It's the hardest because it's like the edges of the bowl, they stay, or if they stay thick, they stay a little bit hotter and they end up moving faster. But then when you start in the center with like drawing out the width of the material, but then if you start on the edges, then they cool so much faster and then you can't get that growth. So it's like really difficult to kind of walk that line to make sure that you get the correct shape. So I think the cheater way is to use a grinder, and so I think that's what so that is what I did today. I didn't grind too much off because I still think I want to like have that flexibility to kind of make the shape that I want and, you know, move it a bit and get that deep bowl in there. And then when I'm done with with dishing that spoon, and then I'll probably go back to the grinder and shape it a little bit further. I did copper table and teaspoons for a bit and eventually gave in and made a specific swage just for it, right? Yeah, I was able to actually get my swage unstuck from its stand today. So I have a nice swage, it's right here. And I'll pick this guy up a little bit later and stick it on top of the anvil so you can kind of see the shapes that are in my swage block. But yeah, it's got a tablespoon sized like bowl divot in the swage block. So it's really nice and it's kind of cheating, but it's a tool that I have and I'm gonna use it. You can create bowls like without a swage block by using a piece of wood. You can kind of burn in a divot and use that to kind of dish out that spoon bowl. And I've done that several times before for demos. It's not the nicest smelling because most of the wood that I have laying around is like, you know, it's like 2x4s and they're not like treated or anything, but it's still, I don't know, whatever they have on it, like the waxing or whatever, it just doesn't smell amazing. All right. So yeah, let's see, what else have we been doing? I think I told you guys most of the news already. So what have you guys been up to? You got any really interesting projects that you're up to or doing? I've seen that Ping has been streaming some Minecraft. I've never really played Minecraft. I heard it's like a video game of like Legos. That might be interesting to play, but it's kind of been like, it's not really been that far on my radar, so I haven't really taken the time to play. But yeah, I've been checking out people's streams, trying to anyway. So we've got an ad starting soon, it looks like, so I need to continue heating my piece anyway, so I think that the ad, it's not going to be, you know, I'm not going to want to pull the material out until after the ad is anyway. So I think that's all right. Learning painting and resin printing. Taking a break from the shop with the cold. Ooh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The shop gets really, really cold in the wintertime. I do have, you know, a heater, and I actually have a furnace over there, but we need to get a guy out here to take a look at it because the gas isn't lighting, or like the pilot light's not lighting. And so we've got I have it, but I think it needs a repair. So I don't actually have, you know, the full warmth in here. So it does get a little bit cold, but it's not too bad. When it gets really, really cold, like below 0, that's when I have to kind of cancel stream because I can't come out here. It's just too cold at that point. We are just above that. Did you ever preheat your anvil? I have not preheated my anvil. And I mean, that is something that I probably should do. And if I was smart, maybe I would do it. But I mean, I've got all of the wiring and cables for the stream that I do, or that I have to plug in, and that's kind of like what's on the forefront of my mind at the beginning of my streams. And I haven't really had a chance to come out here on days when I'm not streaming because I've been doing a lot of like the tech stuff, like the editing and that sort of thing. And it's kind of, I still don't quite have enough stamina to come out every single day. So there will be a point where I am able to come out here every day. And, you know, I will definitely, you know, try and remember to do things like heat my anvil. But yeah, it's gonna, like if I were to heat my anvil, it would definitely cut down on the amount of heat that the anvil sucks from my pieces in the beginning of the streams, or in, you know, the beginning of my projects. They do eventually heat up, warm up, and I get a lot more work in later on, but in the beginning it takes a lot of the heat right out of the piece. So it's something I should do. I should think about it, but I've got just like, I'm very scatterbrained a lot of times. A lot of times I'll like apologize for it, and I'm really trying to like just embrace it because I am scatterbrained and there's nothing I could really do about it. That's just part of my personality and part of who I am. So I need to remember to not apologize for it and just live with it and let it ride. So I'm gonna try and do that. So yeah, I am a little bit on the scatterbrain side, and so like little things are constantly slipping through the cracks when I've got when my focus is other places. So yeah, that's one thing that I just haven't, it just slipped. Perhaps folk wisdom, but I always used to use my first heat to put a big chunk of hot metal on the anvil because I believe, with no evidence, that it decreases the chance of chipping on the edges. Huh. I don't know. I've really never like thought about it that way. I've never really paid that close of attention to the edges of my anvil because, I mean, the tool steel top is broken off of it already. So every time I hammer onto the wrought iron, it's gonna like put little tiny divots in there. And like as I've owned this anvil, I've kind of mushroomed out the top just a little bit. It's one of those things that there will be a time where it's mushroomed out enough that I will probably go and actually heat that top and like hammer a little bit of it back, hammer the corners back. But you can definitely see after, you know, like 10 years of hammering on this anvil that there is a tiny bit of a mushroom on that head. And that would not have happened if the tool steel top of my anvil had not broken off. If I was just going to use the tool steel top, I wouldn't have that issue at all. But I mean, I do have another anvil out in the carport that I keep out there under a tarp, and I kind of like brush off the top every, you know, summer when I'm ready to use it out there. But that guy is like a full tool steel anvil. It's one of the Harbor Freight specials from like 15, 20 years ago. But it's not hard enough that if I hit it wrong, I can ding that top. So I've always been able to like hammer the material back into the holes, but it's kind of, you know, it's like 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. Do I want to work on the raw wrought iron, or do I want to work on the less than ideal tool steel anvil? Yeah, mine would be more tool steel specific because the problem is the brittleness and hardness in combination with the cold. Yeah, definitely. And I mean that, like, especially if you're doing a lot of like shelving and stuff and working on the edge of the anvils, or like if you're doing those aggressive tapers, you know, on that edge, and you're hammering directly on those corners, there is a risk of it, you know, cracking off. Like I said, I don't really have that issue on this anvil. But yeah. All right, I'm gonna do another heat. We're gonna keep on keeping on. I've got a couple of fire bricks inside of my anvil, or I mean inside of my forge, that I kind of use to prop up my material. And they've been moving on me. Makes it hard to get the pieces out of the forge sometimes. Get a little bit of fishtailing over here where it's like a little bit thicker because I've been neglecting to hammer on that end. I kind of want it to have like a little fluting area where it just like increases in width that back there. So I'm kind of really focusing on the handle itself, kind of trying to skinny or make that a lot skinnier. And it looks like I've got a decent amount of material here, but it's really getting thick over here. So I think we're going to focus on this side. So, it's Valentine's Day today. It's one of those things that I don't remember holidays very frequently. I'm kind of weird like that when it comes to women. Usually the women in your life will remember all of the holidays, like, and they'll expect you to remember them too. Man, I never remember the holidays. I barely know what day it is half the time. So it's like, my anniversary, I deliberately made my anniversary be on the 29th of February. That way I only have to celebrate it once every 4 years, and then I just don't have to remember it the rest of the time. So, yeah, my partner came into the room that I was in before they left for work this morning and said Happy Valentine's Day, and I was just like, what? It's Valentine's Day? And I kind of felt bad because, like, you know, I feel like I should remember, but I don't. Same. That's funny. Yeah. So I think I might turn the timer on the bot a little bit longer. I think it's starting to, or I think 10 minutes is a little bit too frequently. Maybe 15 minutes. Would that be a little bit better? I think that it's not like interrupting chat necessarily. And I think that it's doing fine with the whole 2 lines thing, but I think I would like the duration to be a little bit longer maybe. But I don't know. What do I know? I think, like, I really didn't do a lot with Twitch before I started, like, actually streaming myself. A friend of mine, like I said a while back, she introduced me to streaming because she was streaming Elder Scrolls Online raids, and I used to do a lot of raiding, so we were in the same team, so I would be in the raid while she was streaming it, and like, so I only ever watched Twitch when she was streaming, and I wasn't actually in the raid, so like now that I'm actually streaming and getting into it, I've actually been doing a lot more watching, kind of trying to see what other streamers do, and I've been like watching a different varieties of people. So I've been watching some gamers, I watch some VTubers, I watch Ping stream, I watch a lot of the makers and crafter people. So I'm kind of trying to pick and choose like the different things that'll work for us, I think. And I'm hoping that, you know, I can come to a nice balance where everything works together. Yeah, 15 minutes or 5 lines. Yeah, 15 or 20 minutes is probably good. Okay, yeah, because like when I started the bot, it wanted to give me 5 minutes, and I'm like, absolutely not. 5 minutes is way too often. I don't need 5 minutes. But I was like, well, I'm gonna slowly, incrementally change this because I don't know, you know, how often I want. Because I mean, if I have like a ridiculously fast chat, then 5 minutes might be appropriate, but our chat is a little bit more laid back and it's a little bit slow. So I think 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes is probably good. So, yeah. My new goal is within the next couple years, I'd like to get our channel and our community around the same size as Johnson's. He's got an average of about 76 viewers, and his chat is relatively active, but it's still calm enough that you could actually read everybody. So I think that is my current goal, is to get, you know, a small but loyal community. And I think that you guys have created an amazing beginning, and I'm very happy to have you guys. Being a viewer is important too. It really, really is. Because I mean, it's going to help make more community. Like, if you help other creators, that they're more willing to help you as well. So, and I mean, I definitely would like to get to know all of the different Twitch creators, as well as, like, you know, the local blacksmiths in the local associations, and just like United States and like the world. So I think that Twitch is a really amazing platform for those interactions. So I'm really excited that I joined, and I haven't regretted it one bit. I was John's first viewer. Were you? That's pretty amazing. I think, if I remember correctly, Dirty Smith was like one of my first 5 followers. I was like looking at my little, my trackers and everything, and I noticed that he followed, and I was like, wow. I mean, that was like when I had maybe like 1 viewer back in November. So it was pretty cool. I think I had a couple like bots that followed me like way back in the day, like before I even actually started streaming, and they never really left, but Dirty Smith was probably one of my first. We do have audio on both channels now. Excellent. So I actually went to the manufacturer's website of my lav mics, and what I did was I watched all of their product videos, and I found out that I've been using the stereo channel, and when I use the stereo channel on the receiver, not the actual lav mic itself, but the receiver that's attached to the camera, one of them does only the left channel, the other does only the right channel. So it seems like if I use the mono setting, then each of them does both channels, and it's kind of duplicated. So if I were to use both of the lav mics, I think there would probably be an echo. Dirty is a really cool guy. He is. He really, really is. I forgot to refresh my clips when I had the, do that now. And then we're gonna do another heat, I think. Yeah, so I think that the lav mic itself, and I probably made a loud noise by doing that, by tapping it like that. I think that the lav mic, I think OBS splits the lav mic mono. Into stereo, and I think that's really nice. What I did not quite get, why do you switch the audio with the video? You could switch only the video and either leave the audio like it is or in the other view, or mix both microphones all the time if you want more workshop sounds. Okay, so that is another thing that I need to work on. I've got the lav mic situation semi-taken care of, but so I have 2 cameras, obviously. You know, I switch between them. I've got the wide camera and then the anvil camera over there, right? So the lav mic is plugged in directly to the wide camera, and I have a shotgun mic that is directly plugged into the anvil camera, right? So the lav mic has a very strong noise suppression, and it seems to work really, really well. I feel like you guys can really hear me. But the shotgun mic is a little less on the, sound suppression. So I tried very hard to figure out a way to plug in the lav mic directly to my capture card, so that only the lav mic sound would come through to OBS. But for whatever reason, the lav mic and both the on-camera sounds play at the same time. And I haven't quite figured out a way to mute the two cameras without muting the audio that the cameras themselves record. Because I need that, because when I am doing edited videos for YouTube, I need the sound off of the cameras themselves to kind of sync the audio, or I mean the visual clips, so that I can kind of switch cameras, if that makes sense. So I could theoretically mute the audio from both of the cameras and only use the audio from the lav mic directly into the capture card, and that would fix the sound for the stream, but it would make it exceedingly difficult for me to sync the clips between both cameras when I edit the videos later. And the end product, like the goal end product originally, was to create YouTube videos and use the Twitch channel to kind of advertise for YouTube, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like I'm doing my best to kind of have a balance of doing YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Okay, I'm not into OBS enough to know how it works, but ideally you could record all sound in different tracks and use a live mix of all microphones for Twitch, I guess. And I've tried to do that, right? I originally, like last Wednesday, I downloaded a mixer for Windows so that it would actually like separate all the tracks out, and then I could like modify the tracks themselves. And I was kind of wanting to do that so I could duplicate the mono left channel from the lav mic, and for whatever reason, it muted the camera, or like when I plugged in the receiver of the lav mic into the camera, it muted the camera's sound. So it's just every time I try and mess with the sound, something else goes wrong. So it's gonna take me a little bit of extra time and effort to kind of figure that out. I did, like I said, I was able to, or, you know, as you can probably tell, I was able to, you know, figure out a way to give you stereo sound on the wide. I mean, that's improvement, at least, you know, a little bit. So I'm happy with that for the moment. And I will eventually get to a point where I don't have to switch sound. But this is what we've got for now. I try my best, but I am like technologically stupid. The camera mic mutes when you plug in your external mic does make sense because that's normally what people want. Yeah. Eventually it will become part of the brand and it's just going to be weird sound as far as the stream. No, I don't know. See, the thing that's weird is that when it comes to like technological, like, you know, audio visual stuff, I'm actually relatively well versed in sound production, right? So I used to work for a company that did DJing and video and stuff. So I have, and I used to set up the DJ's equipment all the time. So like, if you're asking me to set up a stereo or surround sound, I can do that. But it's just like connecting the sound to the cameras that like, it's kind of a little bit more challenging for me. So like, if you want me to mix the sound going to the computer itself, I can probably do that too if I have the correct program. Like I do have on my desktop, I do the stream on a laptop, but on my desktop I have a program called FL Studio, and that is a professional quality music production software. So I've actually also like written and recorded my own music. So like I can do that stuff. I do understand sound as far as like, you know, mixing and doing like mastering and things like that, and music production, but it's the cameras that like kind of make things screwy, if that makes sense. I streamed for 3 years carrying my phone around and shouting at it, and it worked out fine. See, that's how I started streaming, right? Back in November, when I started streaming, I was just like, I'm gonna stream this just to like see what happens. And I used my phone, and it's just like this guy right here. It's like a Samsung, right? And so I used, what was it, Streamlabs, and my front-facing camera, and I just like kind of put it on like a little, like a car phone holder thing, and I attached it to a stool, and that is how we started. So we've gone so far from that. I mean, we've got 2 DSLRs, and I mean that's a huge upgrade. So I mean, yeah, it's really, like I said, it's the cameras itself. It's the visual part that I don't get it. Like I could totally deal with, and it's like I can even deal with regular SLRs, like analog SLRs. I took photography class. It's just, I don't know. It's just not intuitive for me to change or like to have computers attached to my cameras, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to give you lots of excuses, and none of them are really big excuses. So it's just, I don't know. Like, programs don't like working together for me. What DSLR do you use? I use a Panasonic GH7. And no, this one's a 5, and that one is a 3. Right? So my partner is a news videographer. He makes the commercials for our local news station. So like whenever they upgrade their cameras at the station, he'll try and snag a couple of them because after they're decommissioned, and that's what these 2 cameras are. They're old news cameras. But yeah, it's a Panasonic GH5 and a Panasonic GH3. So yeah, they decommissioned, like a couple weeks ago, they decommissioned one of the really big, like shoulder-mounted news cameras. And my partner's like, I will take that. And his boss is like, nah, I think that's a little bit big for you. I don't think you need that. So I think that one went to someone else, one of the engineer guys. Oh, we've got 30 seconds until an ad starts, so I'm going to wait before I pull the spoon out again. Was worth a try, I guess. Yes, it's always worth a try. You never know. Like, my partner got a drone that way. They were decommissioning some of the drones that some of the older drones that they got when they like first put in a drone program. And we almost got one that was like this big. I mean, those things are huge and it sounds like a lawnmower. So like when people are talking about how drones are, going to look inside my windows and, they're going to spy on me and stuff, not unless they make them quiet enough that they don't sound like a lawnmower anymore. Those things are so loud. So my partner has one. It's about yay big now, like with the wings fully extended. It's about yay big. So we take it out on the weekends and we do like photo hikes. And so we'll take out the GH7 and the drone and we'll take photos and then we'll fly the drone. And that's always a lot of fun. Ooh, a DJI Inspire would be amazing. But yeah, they are really rowdy sounding. Those drones to me rather sound like swarms of aggressive wasps. Yeah, so the DJI Inspire is actually the drone that, like the huge drone that that I was talking about. The thing is huge. It's like, I don't know, is it like 30 or 40 pounds or something like that? Anyway, the engineer for the station is the one that ended up getting it. But my partner had to teach him how to use it because in order to use a drone for monetary purposes, you actually have to have a drone license and register with the FAA. So you have to like take a written test and stuff. And it's the same written test that like pilots have to take. It's like reading air navigation charts and stuff like that. So it's actually really interesting. And you can get in huge trouble if you post things on YouTube and you don't have a drone license, because there is always a possibility that you can monetize your YouTube channels. And if you make any money off of using a drone, you have to be licensed. All right, we're almost done with these ads. It looks like we are now, so we're gonna do another heat. All right, so I'm gonna pinch this in just a little bit. Lost a lot of heat this time, really fast. I assume in the US rules are still a little less strict for that stuff. Over here you can hardly fly a drone anywhere, money or not. Yeah, it's relatively, like in the United States, there's still, like they're trying to really regulate it and like lock it down. Because there's a lot of people who are like really afraid of drones in the US nowadays, but it's still relatively free. Like the airspace above all of even private property is technically, in the United States at least, it is public property, and you can actually fly over anybody's property as long as you're over 2 feet off the ground. That the air is public space. So that's kind of like how the laws are written. as of right now. Now, I know that they are actually trying to lock that down. And a lot of, instead of like locking down drones in general, the US is really trying to cut out specific drones. Like, they don't want you to use any Chinese owned company. So DJI is one of the, the main ones that they're trying to get rid of. But it's like the Chinese drones are the ones that have the best quality. So it's kind of difficult. If you're going to try and boot out the Chinese drones, then nobody's going to be using drones, because they're just so much further ahead than the U.S. manufacturers. But yeah, so it's like they're really trying to, in the U.S., they're really trying to kick out Chinese drones, and then also TikTok, because that's a Chinese application. And there's really no reason, national security reason why, because both DJI and TikTok, they have servers in the United States where all of the US-based drone stuff and TikTok stuff go, but they want to crack down. Here, even the way smaller drones, you must not fly over property, over people, over industrial areas, over nature reserves. You can basically fly over a piece of wood or meadow as long as nobody is there and it is not a nature reserve. Man, that is really locked down. Yeah. I imagine that, that's one of those things that tourists probably ignore. I see a lot of, footage from around the world of, drone footage, but a lot of them are US-based, pilots. So I wonder if that happens, if that's an issue. But yeah. So, as far as our spoon is going, I think it's going pretty well. I think it's going to take us probably a good majority of our time today. But we might have a chance to cut out another piece for a fork. Hopefully, if we get far enough in the spoon, we'll cut a piece for a fork and start that. Again, I forgot to flip my clip, so I'm going to do that real fast. It's one of those things. There we go. But it's all right. I have a feeling I missed it. Should have bought a drone before it all got regulated. What kind of spoon? We are doing a stainless steel, and we're doing a teaspoon. So my sort of half template is this guy right here. This is a silver-plated spoon that was gifted to me by my in-laws. And so this is the template that we're kind of trying to use a little bit. We're definitely not going to make something this precise and fancy. This is something that is definitely manufactured, and we just with the blacksmithing techniques, we're not going to get something this skinny and delicate, but we're going to kind of put our own blacksmith twist on it. And like I said, it's going to be a tablespoon, so we're going to try and make a larger bowl. I have a swage block over here, and that I will pull out when we're ready to dish out that bowl, and it's got a larger tablespoon divot in there, so that's what we're going to use to bowl it out. Alrighty, how is my forge going? It seems to be all right. So we are going to do another heat. So in the center of this piece of steel, because if we thin out that center, then we leave ourselves a lot of meat along the edges, and we'll be able to stretch that a lot wider. And it should work pretty well. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. Start trying to shape that bowl a little bit further. Welcome in, Bottle of Zen. Yeah. Okay. I keep hearing like some kind of crinkling sound, like maybe it's like sleeting or something outside. That's kind of what it sounds like. So I'm gonna put this guy away, and then I'm gonna take a look outside real fast. I will be right back, I promise. We got a little bit of wind, and it is blowing some leaves that are still out there from the fall. So it's making some weird crinkly sounds because they're really nice and crisp, because it's like icy a little bit out there. So we've got some, some weird crinkling sounds. How do you know when to stop hammering? I know when to start or stop hammering because of the color of the steel, right? We're using stainless steel, right? So as that heats up, it changes colors, and it starts glowing bright. Like it goes from like a black color to like a dull red color, and then it goes into the oranges and yellows. And I want to take it out of the forge when it's the bright yellow. And that's when when it's the most malleable and I can get the most movement out of it. And as it gets closer to the darker reds, that's when I need to put it back. So it's kind of a visual thing. And you can also tell like when you are actually hammering, right? So when the hotter the piece of metal, the easier the more movement that you're getting when you use your hammer, right? So if I use one hammer blow, it's gonna move it a lot further the hotter it is. So it's kind of like, as it gets colder, it kind of starts bouncing a little bit. So I know that I need to put it back in the forge when it starts bouncing a little bit further and doesn't like crush in there, if that makes sense. Do you have a coal forge? I do have a coal forge. But I have an indoor shop right now, or like I'm in my indoor shop right now. So if I were to use my coal forge, I would need a flume, kind of like the vent over top of or like your stove hood in your kitchen, right? So you turn on the fan and it takes all of the steam and everything that comes from your stove, and it goes out like a hole in your ceiling, right? Well, if I were using a coal forge, I would need one of those inside the shop, and I just don't have a place to put one. So I do all of my coal forging outside I have a carport out there, and it's like open air. So I don't do any coal forging until it's spring, summer, fall, when it's warm enough to be outdoors. So I say about 50 degrees Fahrenheit is an ideal temperature to go out and do the coal forge. But it is below freezing today, so we're indoors today. That's cool. Or hot. What kind of metal do you use? A lot of times I use mild steel, and the metallurgical numbers for that would be 1019. It's a hot rolled steel. It's the same stuff that you use for metal girders and stuff like that. So that is normally what I use. But today we are using stainless steel. I bought this stainless steel about 7 years ago, so I don't remember the exact numbers because I don't use it a lot, but I bought it specifically because it was a food safe stainless steel. So that's what we're working with today. Stainless steel does not hold heat nearly as well as mild steel, or the normal steel that we use, and it's a little bit harder because the other materials that are in the alloy, they just don't move quite as well. So I have a lot less work time with it. For steel, does it make a difference how quickly you cool it down? I thought it was like that for all metals, and I learned from Kiri that gold and silver do not work like that. Okay, so as far as metals, yes, different alloys have different quenching temperatures, right? And when I say quench, it means like when I cool it down rapidly, right? So a mild steel, which is like the 1019, the stuff that I normally use, I can just quench that in water. So I have a bucket of water over here. So if I wanted to take a piece of mild steel and immediately rapidly cool it, I just plunge it in this bucket of water that I have. And I can go from, close to 2,500 degrees all the way down to, touching temperature, like maybe 100 degrees or something like that, within a couple seconds, and that's not going to do anything, right? But if I'm using a high carbon steel and I do that same thing, it will crack and it'll break in half. So if you look at knife makers and stuff, they're using oil to quench their materials, and so an oil quench is going to be a lot less rapid than water would be. And then there are also some metals that require air quenching. So what you would do is you'd kind of set it on a piece of steel or like whatever, a cooling place, and you just let it air cool. So it kind of depends on what your alloy is as to how you want to quench that. Nice place you got there. Well, thank you. I like it. It's taken me quite a bit of time and effort and money to get to the point where I'm at. But when I first started, I started with like 80 bucks. I had a hammer. Somebody gave me a piece of steel to hit, and I built a forge out of a metal bucket and some flame retardant wool. This one's made out of fire brick. So yeah. And quenching out of a specific temperature defines the hardness. Kind of, yes. Each material, there are different states of metal, right? Metal is like the molecules of metal, they tend to form a crystalline structure, right? And different temperatures will align those crystals in specific ways, right? So each metal has its own specific temperature that you're looking for to create a hardness, right? So this is, I think this is A2, right? It is an air quenching tool steel, right? I have to get this up to 2,400 degrees and then let it cool down in room temperature air in order for it to harden, right? But like 1019, 15 and 20? 1097, that's it. It is the hardened steel that a lot of people will use for Damascus steel. That has a much lower temperature for that hardness. So it's kind of like you've got annealing temperatures, you've got hardening temperatures, and then you have tempering temperatures. And a tempering temperature is when you are softening a fully hardened metal. 15 and 20 is a high nickel tool steel. Yes, Yeah, you do 15 and 20, and then you do 1095, and that's, you weld those together, and that makes one of the prettier styles of Damascus steel. It's been a long time since I've like actually looked up the different numbers, or like the numerical numbers for steels. Interesting things, it seems. This does not work for silver, though. No, it does not. So silver has a much lower melting point. Let's see, what is silver? Aluminum is 1700. Bronze is 2400. I believe copper is... what is copper? It's got to be like 2600, because iron is 27. But yeah, those are the melting temperatures of different metals. Now, silver is still much lower, so I think it's about 2300 degrees, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've melted it. Normally, I spent a long time as a jeweler, so I know this, like, it's more of a visual thing than the specific temperatures. But yeah, so what you're looking for when you are kind of trying to soften silver is you're looking for a salmon color. So you take your torch and you kind of run it over the metal, and then as you're like looking at it, it'll start, or like inside the cone of metal, it will turn salmon colored. And that's when you know you've annealed it and softened the material. Silver is 1234 Kelvin. Yeah. See, I work in Fahrenheit because I'm a dirty American. So anything that I say it's going to be in Fahrenheit, so you'll have to actually like convert that to Celsius. So be careful. You definitely do not want to raise iron up to 2700 Celsius. That would be like very bad. All right. I'm going to do a heat real fast. All right. Once I'm done with this heat, I'm going to have to change my propane. Okay. So I think we've got a really nice wide start for our bowl. So I think from here I'm actually going to start hammering at the edges a little bit. It's going to grow just a little bit. We really want to like kind of crisp up those edges, because right now it's a little bit on the thick side. At the same time, we're going to twist that over so that the bowl lines up with the flat of the spoon, and I think that's going to be our next couple steps. How long does your propane tank last? So my propane tank, well, it heavily depends on how new my propane tank is. This one has been going for about 3 streams, and I stream for about 2.5 hours each time. So it's starting to run low, and so it tends to freeze up towards the end. So it's starting to freeze. It's still not quite completely frozen, but it's starting to, the temperature is starting to reduce. So I want to change the change it so I can get a much hotter temperature. So we're gonna do that real fast. So because I'm kind of a weaker person, I have a tendency to use 20-pound barbecue pigs, and it's a lot easier to get a hold of them too. So you can get a lot more time on a 100-pound tank, and most blacksmiths actually use 100-pound tanks. You don't have to change them near as often, but around here, you have to take them to a refill place. And yeah, wait, is this my newer one, or is this my newer one? I think it's this one. So I have a tendency, instead of using the 100-pound tank, I will juggle 20-pound tanks. One of these days, I might trade up and upgrade, but it's easier for me to trade the tanks than have them refilled. Alrighty. And we are back in business. Alrighty. And certainly would not want to work outside at 50 degrees. Yeah, 50 degrees Celsius. You can submerge them or to reduce freezing in the summer, but there are potential risks with it, so self-research is advised. Partially submerged. Yeah. I just haven't really, I mean, I know that you can definitely, or you can submerge them. That's something that I've recently learned. I can't remember who told me that, but another one of the people from your Discord came in here and let me know that I could submerge them. But since it's so cold, it would be a really bad idea to submerge them because they'd freeze inside the bucket. So yeah, it's something that I will consider looking into later on in the spring and summer when it's not going to freeze in there. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I exchange these guys, or like I do propane exchanges, so I don't really have to worry about like rusting them out. They do, but I still don't want to get like banned from exchanging them, so. Yeah, summer is an important part of that message, yeah. Because I mean, right now, it's so cold that like the tank could just freeze in there and then it would defeat the purpose. But yeah. So yeah, we are working with a stainless steel right now. It doesn't hold heat nearly as much or as well as mild steel does, so we have a lot less work time, and it does take a lot longer for it to heat up. And I mean, a lot longer is relative, but yeah. Oh, cool, my propane is an ice cube. Exactly, man, exactly. It's definitely not something I want to have to deal with. I'd rather just trade them out periodically. Wednesday is probably my best day on stream for my propane tank, at least, because I tend to leave my I exchange my propane tanks on Mondays. And I tend to leave the old one from Friday's stream on until it freezes, and then I put the new one on. So on Wednesday, I tend to get a full stream with no changes on the propane tank. The forge would scare me to death. When it comes to fire, I am kind of a wimp. Yeah, I mean, you have every right to be afraid of the propane forge, or like the forge, any forge really. They do get up ridiculously hot. I tend to leave mine about 2,500 degrees-ish, which is a little bit on the colder side. But yeah, I mean, that's really, really hot, and you do have to be really careful of it. Have a very, have a respect for it, I guess. But I mean, it's just kind of like you get used to it, just like anything. I mean, driving was scary as all get out for a long time for me because I was just always afraid that I would crash. But as I continue to drive, I get more and more comfortable with it. And I still have a very healthy respect for, you know, cars and like other drivers on the road. And I drive very defensively, but I am not constantly thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to crash. And it's kind of the same thing with the forge, right? So when I first start the forge, when I first build a forge, and the first, like, you know, the first lighting of a brand new forge, I'm always really, really cautious. And as I work with the forge, I kind of tend to learn its quirks, and I can manage a lot better, and I get a lot more comfortable. But you never lose that that respect that you have, and know that you can, like, there's always problems that could happen. You got to learn how to detect those so that you can immediately turn off the forge. Yeah, 2,500 Fahrenheit is 1370 Celsius. That is a lot. Yes, it's definitely a lot. So it's like I can only get about yay close before I start. Like it's rather uncomfortable. So that's why I use the tongs to get the metal out. I also, I don't have any hair on the back of my knuckles or on the back of my hands because, I mean, if I get too close, you know. But yeah, blacksmithing is one of those things where you have to, you know, keep in mind that you will burn yourself, you will hammer your thumb with the hammer, and it hurts a lot. But I mean, there's inherent dangers to anything that we do. And yeah, it's like you pay attention, you're alert, you know in the back of your mind what could happen, and you just do it anyway because, I mean, either you got to or you just don't do it. Boom juice scary. Yep. Yep. All right. I am going to flip my stuff. Using a keyboard kind of sounds less dangerous. Yes, it definitely is a lot less dangerous. Using a keyboard, I kind of feel like, you know, the major thing that you got to be aware of and, you know, afraid of is getting carpal tunnel. And while very unpleasant, it is a little less deadly. Black metal is 90% of burns in the shop, though. Exactly. If you see a piece of black metal in a blacksmith shop, always put temperature or test it with the back of your hand, because that you have the most like heat receptors in the back of your hand. So you just kind of like hover the back of your hand, and if you feel that heat, then you never touch it. But yeah, any mystery black metal, don't just grab it because you'll burn yourself. That is where I get almost all of my burns. It never fails. I always lick everything before I touch it in the shop. Exactly.
So there's some weird bumps here on the back of this, and I think what I'm going to do for the next heat is I'm going to actually take this on the side of the anvil and kind of use that to kind of shape this up a little bit so it looks a little bit nicer, and we get rid of the weird sections there. We're getting really
close to done. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dark. Jaden believes in the Leidenfrost effect. Yeah. So, I play a lot of video games with my partner, and there, for some reason, like, he just took to saying, "Don't lick the Wamasu," while we were playing Elder Scrolls Online. And so that just kind of became a thing. So every time we do a dungeon in any game, it's like he picks something that is in the game, like maybe a mob or like a boss or something like that, and he's always like, "Don't lick the whatever." So it's like, "Don't lick the Wamasu, don't lick the Necromancer, you know, don't lick the plant monster." So that's kind of funny. ESO DK tank main here. I was a DK main as well, but I was a Magicka DPS main. So, yeah, all of that fire. I'm a pyro. I mean, it's just appropriate, right? So, you know, that the fire blasts and stuff. Burning embers. It looks like I've got a few followers today. So thank you, Rada28 for your follow. Thank you, Walks the Platypus for your follow. Thank you for Druska Llama. Thank you so much for your follows. I very much appreciate that. Welcome to the community. I hope to see you for a long time. All right. All the fire.
I just added a new emote, and I'm really disappointed that it is still under I guess review. It is the Forge with fire coming out of it, and I'm really excited to show that one to you guys. But it is not ready yet, apparently. So we are actually using the edge of our anvil instead of the top, and we're kind of using it to shape our piece of metal. And the best part of having an anvil is that you can actually use every edge of your anvil for something. It's absolutely amazing. You don't have to focus on only using the top. Alright, we're getting a little bit of a divot in there, so we gotta be really careful, and I think that's actually because of the mushrooming on the corner of my anvil. So I gotta be really, really careful there. We'll try and kind of fix that in our next heat, and then from there, I think I'm gonna pull this out a little bit on the top, and then we've got a nice teardrop shape, and we'll start bowling that out, I think.
So how's the cutlery coming along today? Today it's a spoon. Did I miss the fork and knife? You did not miss the fork and knife. We have done, this is actually our third day of spoons. Our first day of spoons was kind of testing to see if we could complete a job in stainless steel. So that's what we're working with today. I decided that it would be really cool to make a stainless steel set of silverware, and as opposed to doing it in mild steel. So it's taking us a little bit longer each piece of, or each utensil than it would if we were using mild steel, because it takes a little bit of extra heat to work the material, and it cools down a lot faster. So we're working a little bit slower. So we're still on the spoon, and on Monday, we will start the fork if we do not start it today. We might start it today, depends. And then you have not missed the knife yet. So we haven't gotten there quite yet. Slow but steady, cool. Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking that, like, I did a little bit of like weird stuff when I started this spoon, so I've had to use a little bit of extra time beyond the stream to kind of correct it. And so now I'm like completing the corrections, if that makes sense. So I think that, and the spoon is the most difficult of the utensils. So I really think that we should be able to get the fork and the knife done in only one day, but I mean, it could bleed over a little bit into the next day. I'm hoping that it doesn't, but it won't bleed over nearly as much as the spoon. And today I have been doing a lot of question and answer back and forth, so that always ends up slowing me down as well. So like I said, I planned 5 days for this project. It's looking like we're going to have 6, maybe 7 days. But we will definitely have a video for each piece of utensil. We're not going to do a really long video this time. At least I have something to look forward to. Exactly. I did just post a video this morning on YouTube. It is the condensed version of the scrolling tongs, which was the previous project, the one that we just finished up. That video is 31 minutes long, yeah, it's up and ready for you guys to watch. I've put a little bit of extra work into it than the previous overview videos that I've done, and I'm still not entirely happy with it. I still think that I'd like to increase the quality, but I mean, it is what it is, and it's the level that I'm at right now. So every video we will increase the quality. Let's just say it's Joe's fault, although he's not even here. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. I'm gonna continue
Working on this spoon. And I'm hoping that everything works out this time. We're kind of trying to shake this guy up so that we're ready to go into the stage block for our next beat so that we can pull this out. And I keep saying that, and I keep going on here and squishing it more and more and more. But this time I'm really serious. We're gonna bowl this out. We're not gonna do one more heat this time. It's just like we're gonna put a stop to this, and we're gonna go to the swage block for our next heat.
Actually, I think I remember the first spoon day. I remember watching your stream, and then I fell asleep and woke up in Joe's knife shop. Yeah. After all, apart from watching and learning something new, I use you crafters as sort of ASMR to fall asleep to. Yeah, I think that a lot of the crafters are very ASMR oriented. I enjoy that about them. When I first started streaming, I didn't even have any sound because I didn't speak, at least. Because I wanted it to be like that ASMR of just the forge sound and the hammer sound. I figured that it would be really nice to have like as an ASMR fall asleep sort of thing. So it makes me happy that you guys think of it that way. After all, okay, yeah. Not that you are boring, but I just like the industrial sounds. Yeah, I mean, that is a valid, a valid desire, and it's a valid use of the videos. All right. So, because I said that we were going to use the swage block for our next heat, I'm going to bring the swage block over here. And then I'm going to look.
A second. Okay, so you guys can't really see that well. So maybe if I put it in front.
If I put it in if I put it in front of the anvil, I won't be able to reach it. Okay. I'm going to put this guy away. And I'm going to grab this hammer. So this is my ball peen hammer. And I use this when I'm, trying to round out and use the swage block because it'll kind of divot it in and it works really well. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put this guy on the anvil, like so. And then I'm going to show you.
By going like this. Can you guys see it? Yes, you can. Okay, so these are this is like a ladle, or like these are two different styles of ladles, and this is like a bowl hole. And then on the other side, which is the side that we're actually going to use, we have several, like this is like another ladle and, a bigger, wider ladle. This guy is the one that we're going to actually be using. This right here is our spoon divot. So this is what we're going to be using. So you guys may not be able to see me using it, but that's the one that I'm going to be using. So we're going to put this back in its house.
All right. The chat might be kind of boring if everybody falls asleep. It's probably kind of, creak, creak, creak. Yeah, it kind of would be. I am so glad that you guys have, decided that you want to talk to me. I like talking to you guys. You guys are incredible. All right. I'm going to check my footage just to make sure that everything is recording. One more time. I did this apparently 15 minutes ago. So we are good to go for the next 15 minutes on those. Awesome. Okay. Are we ready? We are totally ready. Okay. So I've got my hammer. We're good to go. We're going to use this hole right here with the swage block. So I'm going to do this.
And you probably won't be able to see it amazingly well, but I hope that it's all right. All right. So we're bringing this over here, and we're going to go like this.
Johnson, welcome in. It's starting to look like one of the spoons in the Chinese restaurants. Yes, it definitely is. And that's really because the shape is a little bit wonky. When I started making it, I didn't start with a wedge, and I probably should have. I started with like a flat, so we had those like little corners at the top, and it kind of made it so that the top of the spoon isn't like really, you know, the top of the spoon isn't really like pointy like that. So this one I did a little bit better job with that flat. This is the test spoon that we did from the first day. I think that I got a little bit better shape on this one than I did on the one that's currently in the forge. But it's all right. We will fix that up, and we will make sure that it looks incredible when we're done with it. Or by the time we're done with it. Yeah, good soup. Chinese restaurants have incredible soup. My favorite is actually egg drop soup. That's my favorite Chinese soup. My partner thinks that I'm absolutely crazy for liking egg drop soup because he says it looks like snot, but I think I love it. I love eating it. We also have like a sweet and sour soup. It's like a spicy thing, and that's also really good. We get that at the Chinese restaurant. Just as increasable as the stream, instant follow. Well, thank you. Thank you for the follow. We're getting lots of follows today. I'm excited. I'm still a relatively new streamer, so I get really excited every time we get a new follow. And then I'm just like, why would you guys want to subscribe to me? I kind of have a little bit of that imposter syndrome. So it's incredible that you guys have come and found me and find me entertaining enough to follow me. So thank you so much. I like the texture of Chinese soups. It's incredibly strange, but incredibly delicious. Yes. Yes. I love Chinese soups. I used to absolutely hate Chinese food when I was a kid. I kind of feel like a lot of kids are like that. You kind of have to acquire a taste for Chinese. Like back when I was a kid, like a really little kid, I only liked eating rice and like sugar on my rice. And I feel like, you know, it's a shame that I didn't develop that taste sooner. But I'm also an American, and I have a very American palate, so very spice averse and like at least when I was a kid. So I have tried to develop my palate a little bit better and try a lot of different foods as I've gotten older. Oh, Curie rated me. Welcome in, Raiders. I didn't even realize that we had gotten rated. It didn't tell me that I got rated. Why didn't it tell me? Oh, last time, not this time. Oh, okay. I was worried I missed a raid. Missing a raid is like terrible because I mean, I greatly appreciate all of the raids that I get. I mean, if I had not gotten Yankees raid, like when I first started, I wouldn't have any community at all. So I am absolutely, I love getting raided, and I love to send people on to another streamer and raiding myself. So yeah, got to make sure that we acknowledge all of that. This is how some of us get a harem. Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. leave that be. I'm gonna leave that be.
All right, we're gonna do another heat.
I don't know how Chinese food is in the US. Over here, all Chinese food tends to taste the same. Probably like one specific traditional cuisine in one little corner of China. Yeah, that's kind of how Chinese food can be here. A lot of it is franchised to like, or like there's like New China, and so many of our Chinese restaurants are actually a franchise of that that restaurant. So a lot of it is very similar, but we do have a relatively large variety of different dishes at that one restaurant. So, and then I also have, I've had the privilege of knowing quite a few Chinese and Korean and like Vietnamese people, and they have actually cooked a lot of really amazing cuisine for me. I was to China only once, but the food was quite different from what is called Chinese food in Germany. I can imagine, man. I can imagine. Let me see. I think I missed a couple of comments. Let's see if I can't find them. Yes, Yankee Axe is the one that rated me when I first got started. Oh, the harem thing. Yeah, in the U.S. that means something interesting. But yeah, so yeah, a community. That's probably the word that you were trying to go for, was community. But yeah, Yankee Axe is the one that rated me initially and started my community. Without Yankee and several other people who have rated me throughout my streaming career, I would not have the community that I have, and I am so grateful for all of the support that you guys have all given me. Thank you so much. Yeah, Yankee Axe is amazing. His work is so cool. Like the restoration of the older tools. Like I do a lot of tool restoration as well, but like I am so not as skilled as Yankee is. Like when I'll go to like an antique store and I'll pick up a new hammer or something, and I will restore like the heads of the hammers, but I'm always stuck with the same or with whatever handle that I was given. So I always end up looking for the handles more than the heads of new hammers, or like I guess new to me hammers, because I'm just really bad at woodworking. So I mean, if you want to see a hammer that I rehandled, it would be this guy right here. And I made this handle out of a oak dowel that I bought at Home Depot, and I just chopped it off bluntly, and then I took it over to a belt sander, and it's like awful. I mean, it's usable, but Yankee does such better handles. So I'm envious of his skills. I tried to type, "This is how some of us got here," I meant. Yeah. 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 So in English, or like I guess in this area in the U.S., a harem is kind of, it's a genre, like oftentimes when I think of it, it's like a genre of anime, like, you know, Japanese animation, where there is a protagonist that has multiple potential love interests. So I was a little thrown off when that word came up, so I apologize. That's like on me. Don't be jealous, you simply have a different specialization. He's the woodworker and you're the blacksmith. I am. I do my best to, you know, I do have a skill set, and it's a very valuable skill set, or a very valid skill set. And Yankee also has a very valid and very good skill set. He's very skilled at what he does. But yeah, I do want to do a collab someday. I think that it would be really fun to do. Maybe this summer, if we can, you know, get the coal forge up and running, we'll see about making an axe head, and then if we can make that axe head, we'll send it off to Yankee, and maybe he can handle it for us. And then after that, we'll see, you know, what we can do with it. Oh, that would be a harem. Yep. Yankee has an axe head that he needs to send to a blacksmith. Maybe you could do, or both do a collab. If he needs a blacksmith, I'm always here, you know. Yeah, I would definitely be up for that at some point in the future. I'm not sure if I am going to be able to do commission work in a timely fashion right now, because I do have, like, I'm still recovering from getting really sick about 5 years ago. When I started streaming back in November, it was kind of my attempt to kind of get my stamina back up to the point where I could continue working and taking commissions and making money again. I used to actually make money doing this, but I got sick, and so it, you know, I had to spend the last 5 years kind of recovering and getting my strength up. It took quite a long time just to be able to get out of the bed. So I'm really excited and I'm really proud. And I've actually gotten, when I started, I was only able to come out here for an hour, and now we're up to almost 3. So I've already made incredible progress. And so I'm really looking forward to taking you along on my journey. Yes, be proud, girl. Let's go. Yes. All right, I'm gonna move the swage block back so that it's not in the way of the anvil, and we're gonna start straightening out a bit, or like the handle on the spoon a bit. So we're gonna go back to our forging hammer, and I'm gonna straighten out the handle.
Alright, so it's nice and straight. I'm actually pretty happy with that. There is a little bit of an extra bit of material here that I think I'm going to hammer down on our next heat. But I think we're actually getting to the point where I'm about to call this done. Once I finish up getting rid of that little extra bump there, we're going to bend this back a little bit so it's a little bit easier to function. Right now that bend is a little bit severe, so I think it would be difficult to pick up soup with it, so we're going to bend that back so it's more like here as opposed to up there. So that is our next heat. But we're really getting there. Run away in utter fear, for I, Bluesy, the goat farmer, in here. Welcome in, Bluesy. How are you today? We are still working on that spoon, but we are getting really, really close to being done with it. And then once that spoon is done, I'll probably hang out for a little bit for, well, I guess by the time our spoon is done, that's probably about the time where I will be raiding off. We do about a 2.5 hour stream on, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I've got about 15 minutes left of our stream today. And what was that? So yeah, we got about 15 minutes left on our stream. So we're gonna finish up this spoon, and then on Monday we'll start that fork. Nothing like a sweet old lady with a sniper rifle. A sniper rifle, yeah. I enjoy playing games as a sniper. Like, when I played Skyrim back in the day, I was a stealth archer. I feel like everyone starts as a stealth archer. It's just an easy way to play Skyrim. It's really OP. Ooh, you hunt boar? I bet you hunt boar. Boars can be mean and awful, like, creatures. They cause all kinds of havoc, especially on farms, constantly digging things and, like, making mud holes and stuff. He kind of, unless you're, like, you want the pigs to be there, it's better to get rid of, like, the wild ones. No sheep. Sheep are stupid. Sheep are stupid. My grandfather had a farm, and he had a whole bunch of sheep, and they were the dumbest creatures. All they did was eat and poop. So he used them, he had them because every year he would shear them for their wool, and then we'd sell off that wool to the shear. But that's the only reason we had them. They also, it was kind of so that he didn't have to mow the grass, and then he got a little bit of kickback from that wool. But he mostly did, like, growing hay and the cows. He had herds of cows that he kept, and every year he'd butcher one. And then we'd have steak and, all of a whole cow throughout the year. You'd freeze it.
How do I hang on. I have my Nightbot over, like, deleted your message. I'm not entirely sure how to undelete your message. It auto-modded Dark's message. It was not a bad message. I'm really sorry about that. I have no idea how to fix that. So I will look into the settings of my bot. But I will have to wait until the stream is done. I apologize. That was not a bad post. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. Too many emotes. I can do it if I'm a mod. But no need to make me mod. Okay. Yeah, I only really have one mod right now. I have Ping as my mod. He's been like a loyal viewer. He's like one of my first viewers, and he is really great about it. So I gave him mod, and I haven't really needed another mod recently. Yeah, I still think that I'm pretty small, so there might be a time when I need more mods, and I will assess who would make good mods and who wants to volunteer. But right now, I think one mod and myself is, you know, is all right. Sound like somebody is looking for a job. Please don't make me a mod. Yeah, modding can be work. It can definitely be work. I don't want to put that on anybody that doesn't want it. Ping has been doing a great job, though. Ping is a great mod.
Roar. I always drop things. So one of my next projects is going to be a new set of universal tongs. Woo! The spoon hit my the rubber on the bottom of my boot as it came down, so there's like a little burning rubber smell that's icky. Alright, so here we are. We've got that nice, I like the handle, and I think that our next heat we're just going to be like moving that handle just a little bit further back, just kind of like that. We're gonna use the vise for that, because that's exactly what it's for. And then we will be done. Exciting, exciting. I think I need to do a little bit of cleanup on the grinder as well, just to make it more round shaped. A little bit more even.
All right. Pretty much stopped streaming. Don't have much work out on the tracks now. So, but if I do get something exciting to throw up on my YouTube channel, you don't need 5 different universal tongs, at least. I do need like 5 sets of universal tongs, right? So I actually end up making a brand new set of tongs almost every project or like major project that I do. So like when I used to take commission work, I did a lot of, I made furniture. That's like what I would, you know, make money doing. And so a lot of times what I would do is I'd create these like designs or like blacksmith designs and put wood tops on them. And so a lot of the components, I would need special tongs for them. And so I have like a giant amount of tongs, not like a 40-year blacksmith, but I started with one set of tongs, and I probably have like 30 or 40 sets now. So I have tongs that are specifically designed for specific sized materials. I have weirdly pronged ones. I have all kinds of crazy different tongs. And yeah, I make a lot of tongs. That is logical. Yeah, so these are like the one of the first sets of tongs I ever made. And basically it's just like there's V grooves in them. And I can just like grab anything that's a square piece of stock in them. And that's why I call them the universal tongs. But they're really old and they're really like the rivet's really loose. So if you could see that, it's like shimmying. So it's really hard to get like a parallel grab on a piece of stock. So I have a tendency that I have to fight the material when I'm trying to pull it out of the forge. So I really need to make another set. I've tightened these so many times that the rivets heads are pretty much flat and flush with the holes, the edges. I'm a farmer. I have a room filled with clamps. I still do not have enough. Yeah, exactly. Take it out, put a new one in. I think I want to actually remake the whole set because these just aren't, they're not as pretty as the new sets that I've been starting to make. So, I mean, that way I can keep these and use them for, whatever I happen to need at any given time. So it's kind of like I like to keep my old stuff just to see where I've been. Yep, new rivets. I mean, I could make a new rivet. Alrighty. Hey, I understand that, but pretty is not functional, is it? Exactly, pretty is not functional. Well, not necessarily. Sometimes you can make very functional items that are pretty as well. And I try to do that a lot, if I can, at least. So yeah. Let's see. I think we've got enough heat, so we are going to work on bending our handle. So I'm going to stay on the wide camera, that way you'll be able to see the clamp or the vise, and then I'm going to put my water over on my workbench. And here we go. All right. Now, all right. So I think I'm pretty happy with So as I put these in here, the bowl itself is kind of cockeyed this way. So I think our next heat, I'm going to actually twist these back around with a set of tongs. Where the heck did my tongs go? On the floor. And then I think that'll be our last heat for the day. I want to make sure, or I can hear the forge is starting to struggle a little bit. I have an announcement. What sort of announcement do I got? What did it give me? What did it tell me? I have more followers. Hype. Excellent. Thank you for the follow. Simply Pickles. Thank you so much. Also, thank you, Vossen, for the follow. Welcome in. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much for your follow. I appreciate every follower. I appreciate the fact that you want to be notified that I am around and streaming. I do stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 2.5 hours. I start at 2:30, I believe. That's Eastern Standard U.S. time. And that is 1:30 Central Standard U.S. time. But yeah, welcome to the community. Welcome in, welcome in. Follower goal met. Exactly. My follower goal was met. That means I have to move my follower goal further. It was 110. Now we'll go for 120. You never know. We'll feel some spicy. Maybe we'll go 150. True, you can make fantastic, aesthetically pleasing stuff. I always love it when I've cleaned and fixed my cultivators. I missed your notification, so is that why, or that's why I'm so late? Over here, it's 11 p.m. Man, 11 p.m. is kind of on the late side. My bedtime is 10 p.m. That's when I log off of all of my computer and go to the bedroom and start watching TV until I fall asleep. So I try to be, turning off the TV by about 11. But yeah. 11 p.m. Yeah, I don't know. I know, when I look at my my notification, or I guess my stats for my streams, it tells me that about 50% of my followers get a notification. I've also heard that some of the notifications are really, really late. So, I mean, if you want to be notified, check your settings, check to see if maybe the notifications is turned off. I mean, like I said, sometimes they're a little bit late. So, yeah. I am more of a night owl. Hard to fall asleep before midnight. Later, or rather later if I can. When I was a teenager and my early 20s, my ideal I ran from, or I slept from 2 a.m. till 11 a.m. So I was kind of a second shift worker at the time. I started working at 2 p.m. and I ended at 9 p.m. So after I got home from work, I'd want to go and do stuff hang out with my friends and do homework and stuff like that. So I had a shifted schedule, but nowadays I sleep from about 11 p.m. till about 7 a.m. Germany. We have quite a lot of people from all over the world watching. We've got some people from Germany, and I think I saw someone from Belgium. And I know that we've got some Finnish people. And there's some people from Eastern USA. It's very exciting to me. I like getting to know people from all over the world. I'm glad that you guys are all here. I kind of feel like in the US we're very isolated. We don't actually learn a lot about the world at large. So it's very exciting for me to get to know all of you from all over the world. Alrighty. So that is our spoon, and I am going to, I think that I'm done for the moment. What I'm gonna do is before stream on Monday, I'm gonna kind of clean this up a little bit, and I will show you the product, or the final product, after it's done. Right now it's a little bit on the black side, and I need to use a wire wheel to kind of clean that up and make it return that shiny stainless steel look to it, and do a little bit of grinding shaping on that bowl, and I will show you the results on Monday. What is happening? My Nightbot is like being really mean. What happened? Yeah, I see that. I don't know. Did I feed it? Maybe it's just hangry. I just added a bot because it's kind of like, maybe I can turn off the mod or auto mod feature. Wow, it's really, really not nice. All right, well, I will definitely look into that bot. And if I can't get it to stop timing people out and, you know, auto modding like emotes, multiple emotes, I'll just kick it out of the stream, because none of the ones that it's auto modded have been all that bad. I am trying. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying really hard. I'm gonna like figure out what this is. I'm sorry, Vossen. Where is this? It's stupid. I'm so sorry, guys. $607. All right. I'm really sorry about that, guys. I will look at the. I'm gonna look at that Nightbot. I'm gonna make sure that it's not gonna time you guys out. I'm really sorry about that. I am about to raid off though. So by the time I stream again, you'll be off of the timeout. I'll make sure that that happens. I'm really sorry about that. Is there anybody you guys would like to raid? I will take suggestions. And I have your PM open, Vossen, so if you have a suggestion as well. I'm going to crawl back to bed. Well, have a good night, Dark. All right, so thank you all for joining me for the stream today. And I will be back on Monday, and we're going to start that fork. Thank you so much for all of the follows and the conversations. I will definitely be modifying this bot. Who do we got? Is Johnson going? Doesn't look like it. How about Ping? Not Ping either. Who all is streaming today? Kinara, okay. Can I show the spoon close to the camera? Yeah, I can.
I hope you guys can kind of see that. It might not be in focus. But yeah, here is the spoon. Okay, let's go with play in the mud then. It sounds like they are a potter. I really like potters.
So let's go with play in the mud. We'll rate off to play in the mud. Thank you all for joining me today. I am so happy to see you guys. Welcome in, welcome to the community. Play in the mud. Awesome. We're gonna raid play in the mud. Start the raid. And it's going to take me just a little bit because my computer's a little bit laggy when it comes to raids. Awesome. And laggy. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day and a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day.